I believe we all have days on which we would like to create something, but we just don't know where to start. So in this video, we're going to check Pinterest and find some inspiration. Welcome, this is Barbara from Vienna, Austria. Before we start, I must mention that I completely stole this idea from lovely Tina from Shabby Dabby Duda. We were recently talking and she mentioned that she's working on a series like this for next month, so in February, and I instantly fell in love with the idea and I asked her if she would mind if I would try something like this as well, and thankfully she said she doesn't mind. I will link Tina's channel below for anyone who doesn't know it yet. She also currently has a series, actually she's had it for quite a while, called Tidy Friday, which is probably one of my favorites of hers. So go check that one out as well. And hit that notification bell so that you will know when she starts her Pinterest series. So what I did what I decided to do was to go onto Pinterest and I wanted to make a tag. Something easy, something like not a huge project, just something I could accomplish in a short amount of time. And I was looking for inspiration. So one of my favorite places to go, of course, is Pinterest. And I decided to go to the search field and I typed in vintage tag design Tim Holtz. Now, why I put into the Tim Holtz is not because I was looking for something with Tim Holtz products, but I knew, or I was hoping, that if I would use that term or that name, Tim Holtz, that I would get the style I was looking for, because I love almost anything done with Tim Holtz products. I love. And a lot of these things are so inspiring. And I just scrolled a little bit. I didn't have to go far. And I came across this one here, which has 3 tags in it. And it stuck out to me. Why? Because it has a dragonfly, and I will show you a larger picture of this in a second. So I thought, this is great. Let me see what I can do with that. I followed the link and it took me to her blog. And so this is designed by Shuni Atelier. And she has a blog and I will link that below for you. So here you have a better idea of the tag now. And I really think it's so cool. I love all the layering, love the colors, love the dragonfly. And let's just see if I can use this as inspiration. I can copy a lot of the things, but in the end, of course, it will not turn out the same because I don't have the same items that she has used. And so I'm using this as inspiration and maybe to also build some more skill, because I can definitely learn from looking and analyzing something like this step by step to check all the details. What did she do? How did she do it? What materials did she use? How did she layer? There's so much you can learn from this. So let's just give this a shot and see what my outcome will be. I'm extremely curious. I know I'm gonna have fun. I hope you will too. So the first thing I have to choose, of course, is a base for my tag. It looks here like she was using kind of like a manila tag, which I don't have. So I'm going to use a beige cardstock that I have. So this is the one I have. This is 200 GSM, I think, yeah. And so I'm just going to cut a tag manually. I don't know what size hers is and it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to say, I think that the height, I think, is fine. Maybe let's make it, I don't know. Let's do this. No idea how wide that is. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to trim this with my scoreboard and then I'll just cut off the corners. So let's just cut these. I think I'm making mine a little bit smaller than hers. It's totally okay. Just flipping that over to the other side so that I have the exact same angle on both of these. Okay, so now we have the basic tag shape. That was probably the easiest part. Analyzing this further, Let's see what the next layer is from the bottom. It looks like she had put some color on here. I don't know how she added the color. It might actually be some distress stain daubers or some distress stain ink. Could be, not totally sure. And here she also obviously has done some, looks like almost tea dyeing. I don't think it's coffee dyed. I think it's tea dye. And it has these beautiful bubbles here. So that looks awesome. Let's see how we can do something like that. I usually have a mixture of coffee in my fridge in a spray bottle ready to go when I need it. So that's perfect here. I'm just gonna keep it very simple, and I'm just going to, let me just move my laptop. I'm just going to spray my tag. And since I cannot wait for it to dry because I have no patience, I'm going to do this with my heat gun. So as you maybe saw, I kind of dabbed it in the little splatters of coffee that I had on my paper, and that's how I got this pattern here. They're not like the bubbles that she has on hers, but I think this is a great starting point. Now this is of course a little wrinkly because of the water, so if you wanted to, you could iron this, and I'm actually thinking if I should go through the trouble of doing that, because this is of course also harder to work on. So yeah, I might just do that. That took no time at all and was totally worth it. So I would suggest to do that if you're doing something like this. So next I want to do the color that she has. So she has some green mostly here and on the bottom here, and then I'm not sure, maybe she added some more here. I don't know whether that's done with a distress ink or whatever, but we'll see what we can do. So we'll add some color. I don't have the green. Let me add this underneath again. I do of course have my wild honey, but I also have some tumbled glass, which is like a bluish turquoise. I have some brushed corduroy, and I also have some tea dye. So I'm thinking I'll use the blue up here. That, I like that. And then there's some down here. Let's try the tea dye. I think that's the lightest one of them. And add maybe some down here and some here. And maybe some here. I don't know, I'm just playing. Okay, so good so far. This needs to dry, and then let's try some stamping. So this is what we have so far. This is our inspiration tag. I think it's coming along nicely. So let's see, what other layers does she have? I see some stamping here, and I don't know if she put some book pages underneath as well, because I do see some script here. I don't know if that's stamp or some scraps that she has. She also has a scrap piece of paper here later. But yeah, let's just add some stamping basically to most of the tag, except maybe not so much up here. So I already chose some stamps that might work. I wanted to also include some round elements like she has. So I found this. This was something very cheap from Action. So this is a cogwheel, which I think always works. And this here says something vintage stamps or something. Vintage stamp, I think this is. Yeah, vintage stamps. So I think that's a pretty cool stamp as well. So let's start off with this one. And I'm using archival ink for this because it's permanent. And I want to make sure that in case I add any other wet media, I don't know if I will or not, then I want to make sure this does not smear. So this one we can maybe have kind of like off the tag, or let's put this one, let's put this one here or here. And the cogwheel we'll put kind of off the tag. So that's looking great already. Let's take the cogwheel. So the point is obviously to use what you have. Take the inspiration from the photo, but use what you have. Don't go buying stuff to make something that you're inspired by, because I'm sure most of us have so much already. We just need to figure out how to use it. So I'll put that off to the side like this. Yes. And then I have these, which are very like scripty stamps. I could not find these anymore, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure they were from AliExpress, but I just could not find them anymore. So I'm sorry about that. So let's just, I don't know, use these. Doesn't matter, use what you have. Put one down here. And then we could use maybe just like a scripty one. This one here. I think having some sort of script stamp is always a good idea because you can use it for so many things, and these are just awesome for backgrounds. Let's just put that up here. No matter that they overlap, totally fine. I could maybe add another one. This, and what else? I want something else for here. Why not just add this one? Like that. I think that's good enough. So this is what we have so far. Let's go back to our inspiration tag. Next thing we need to do, it looks like, is some stenciling, and it looks like this is raised a little bit, but not a lot. It almost looks like this was done with gesso. I'm talking about these here and this here, but I think I might do mine with texture paste. So let's try that. So I have my homemade texture paste, which I am super happy with. I will link the video that I used to make this in the description box below for you, in case you want to make one yourself. This is so cool. I'm loving this so much, and it's still not hard. I made this in December, so about a month ago, and it's still very yummy. And I have this stencil. I believe this one might be from Dina Wakley, if I'm not mistaken. So we're gonna put some here, and we're gonna put some here like she did. So let's just try that. Take my spatula and do this. I'm in love with how this texture paste works. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is at least as good as anything I've ever bought. And then let's add some here on the bottom without destroying the one we've already done. Perfect. So again, we need to let this dry. This is super simple to make. You probably have the few ingredients you need at home, so go check out that video. And apparently it helps to keep some clear plastic inside the jar on your texture paste to keep it moist longer. Apparently this is supposed to hold 10 months. So we'll see if that actually holds true, but for now, it is just amazing. And please don't forget to clean your utensils that you used with your texture paste right away, or put them in water right away, because once they dry, I wouldn't know how they come off. So don't forget that. And I realized one thing I want to add that this tag here has. So you see here, it has a date here. Now I don't have a stamp like that, but I really love that there is something up there, and I want to have that too. And I'm just realizing we also forgot the hole. We need a hole up there. So I went through my stamps and I found this one. I know this one is from Finnabair. And this one has a lot of very, very small sentiments and words. And I thought I could use this tiny one that says, "Own your story." So let's put that there instead of the date. So you might not like everything that's on the inspirational photo. Maybe I should put it the right way up. On the inspirational photo that you choose. So then don't add those parts. Add the parts that you like and leave the rest out, or change them into something you like. So here now, very small, it says, "Own your story." So let's add a hole in the top. And then she has a ring reinforcement, a hole reinforcement. And hers is actually white. Let me see here, hers is white, but I rather have mine in brown. So these were white, and I have just distressed them with my vintage photo with my foam piece, just going over them. If you want to do that, be sure that you have matte hole reinforcements and not the glossy ones, because the distress stain won't stick on it. These here that you see, the texture paste that we just added, looks like it is a beautiful bronze. So it's a great opportunity for me to use my beloved gilding wax in copper. This is pure coincidence, I swear. This was not planned. I didn't choose the tag because of the copper, but it's nice that it works that way. So I've actually never tried using the gilding wax on texture paste. So this will be new. And of course, it's going to also go onto the tag itself. Maybe I should again put this underneath, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. But it's not completely covering the white. Yeah, but that's fine. So this is what we have now. It looks a lot more white on the camera than it does in real life. What I should have done is I should have tried mixing the texture paste first with maybe the distress stain or watercolor or acrylics or whatever, or even the gilding wax. Who knows if that would have worked. Now it's too late. So either I just let it be, or I put something else on it to cover all the white spots. Having another look at this, I'm now thinking that this almost looks like it's embossed and not done with texture paste. That would totally make more sense. We have texture paste. So I do want to darken these a bit. So what I want to try is something new that I have received as a gift from my friend Louise. Hallo Louise, falls du zuschaust. Louise has an amazing YouTube channel. Most of her videos are in German. Some of them are English and some of them have English subtitles. But she is totally worth checking out. She makes the most amazing junk journal projects, mixed media, and various series. And she sent me this, and I've never seen one of these before. So it's a Memento Dual marker. Kind of reminds me of the Tombow markers. And I think, and it's in the lovely espresso, I think it's in the espresso truffle. It doesn't even say. Oh yeah, the espresso truffle color that I love, that I always stamp with. So she was kind enough to send me one of these, and let's just experiment and color this, and then maybe add more gilding wax on top. So I want to completely get rid of any white that's showing here. Interestingly, the copper wax is actually showing through, meaning I don't have to put any more on top. It still looks like the copper was put on top of this marker, which is really interesting to me. Anyway, so this is where we're at. I really like this. I'm wondering if I want to add some of the gilding wax up here, but I can decide that later on. So what do we have going on next? Let's see. here's the tag. This is where we are. Well, I think maybe we should then consider the dragonfly before we do anything else, because that will define where I have the other pieces that are still missing. So let's think about our dragonfly, which is probably actually not going to be a dragonfly, even though I have this amazing stamp here. I bought this secondhand at a craft flea market. This is the number in case you want to try to look for that. And it's really beautiful, but it is too big for my tag. So yes, I could stamp it, scan it, and then print it at a smaller percentage, but that just seems like way too much work. So I thought instead I might use a butterfly. I also have this beautiful stamp. I got this, it's from the same company. I got this at the same stand at the craft fair, secondhand, and I don't know why anyone would give these away. They're absolutely magnificent. But I think this has the perfect size for what we need. So I need to stamp this on another piece of card. So I have some scraps here. I will again, or actually I'm gonna emboss this because I think this would look really cool embossed. But maybe before I do that, I should first do something on the base, because you see here how beautiful she made this dragonfly. It has beautiful colors and everything. So those must have been put down before she stamped on it, obviously. So she kind of made a grungy background. I love that. So let's try to make a grungy background. Oh, I have two here. So what can we use? We can just use some paints, or we could also use a distress stain. We could use, let's try it first with distress stain. And if we don't like that, we can always go over that. Oh, but that's beautiful actually. I was gonna say we can then go over it with some watercolors if we don't like it. And then let's add some brushed corduroy on the ends. Oh, this is very juicy. Let's let this dry for a second. So I'm taking my embossing stamp pad. I'm going to stamp the butterfly. Hopefully I made my splatters big enough. No, see the wings. The wings come out. Does it matter? No, I don't know. Let's just try it. I have this beautiful black sparkle embossing powder. So let's add that. We can always redo it if we don't like it. Oh, okay. I just learned something. You need to let your distress stain dry completely before adding embossing powder. Otherwise, you have a complete mess like here. Okay, this is not going to work. So let's start again. Okay, this time I'm going to try to make it bigger so I don't run into that problem that the wings then don't. But you know what I'm thinking? I actually would like it if the wings then are lighter and not the inside is lighter. Well, see, let's just do it like this, like I had it originally. And if I don't like it, then I will change it so that I do it the other way around. I'll put dark inside and then it gets lighter on the outside. So this time I will let this completely dry with my heat gun. This time it is completely dry. I have inked my butterfly up again. So let's try adding this now. Trying to get a little bit of the brown in here as well. Yeah, it's completely in the color, so that's perfect. So let's try this now. Fingers crossed. Yes. Okay, so just be sure that your surface is dry before you emboss. I should have known that. So it has the brown just on the tips of the wings, which I think is fine. So let's heat emboss this and then we'll see what it looks like when it's cut out. I think it's gonna look pretty awesome. So it is beautifully sparkly now. Love that. So now I'm going to cut this out and then let's see what it looks like. So here it is, completely cut out, and I just love the way it looks. Actually, it's totally fine that the light color is inside and then it gets darker on the outside, and it just has a little bit of the brown on the tips, which is also really cool. So really fun technique to play around with. And obviously, if you don't have distress stains, just use watercolors or acrylics. That works just as well. So now we're going to place this somewhere on the tag, and I want to have the wings sticking out from the tag like she has here with her dragonfly. It's sticking out and I really like that. And I don't know if she's done that, but I want to add mine to be a little more dimensional, so I'm going to add some foam underneath just in the middle so that it stands out from the tag a little bit. So just put 2 of these here in the center. Obviously, you can just glue it down in the center if you don't have these, or if you don't want it as dimensional as this for a journal. So I'm gonna put it here. Maybe bend these up even a little bit. How fun is that? Now, let's see. There's a few more things we have to do. So I want to add some brads up here. I'm assuming these are brads. So I want to add some here as well because I think those are super cool. I have my little treasure box here, which is actually meant to be a jewelry box. So it's actually meant for jewelry, and it has a drawer here with more goodies inside, and there's some smaller brads. These I don't think are gonna work, but I have some in here that I think will be perfect, which are these here, and I believe these might be Tim Holtz as well. So let me take 3 of these. And then she uses tiny brads to attach some scraps of paper, but I don't think I have enough of those. Those are really, really the tiniest. I have one here that I think was in a Happy Mail. I have no clue where to get these tiny, tiny brads. Yep, that's the only one I have. So that's not gonna help me. The others are all way too big, so I won't be able to do that. So I need 3 holes here. Let me mark where to make those so that I don't mess that up. Maybe make one here and then the other one. I actually don't want them to line up with the text. Yeah, I think I want them to be a little farther apart. So 1, 2, and then 1 in the middle. Let's make those holes. I must say I'm having so much fun with this project. I kind of feel like a detective trying to figure out what she did and how she did it and what she used. It's really cool. And mine will look different, which is wanted. And yet I had no idea what I was gonna do today, so this is just perfect. When you're stuck, maybe you don't even, maybe you're not motivated, so then just pick something and try it out. So it looks like I'm either gonna have to glue this in or really just cover this whole thing up on the back. Okay, this is so cool. I am loving this. Okay, what do we have next? Let's put these side by side. So this is where we are. So she has a piece of paper here that she had attached with the mini brads, and she has another one here. On this one here, she stamped dragonfly, and she also has here, if you can see that, she added a charm here, a little arrow. And then she just knotted some twine or something there in a very interesting way. Never seen that before. Not sure that I can do that. Here's some numbers. Maybe let's start off with this one. This one looks easier. So I need a scrap and then something else on that. I have this piece of scrapbook paper left that I think would be very nice for the bottom layer. So let me just cut out a piece there. I will fix the right size after I chose my number, but just so that I get an idea. Just gonna cut this out and I will trim that down a little bit. And then I need a number. I have this beautiful vintage Egyptian box and I'm going to, this is, by the way, in case you're interested, this is from Postal Love, which is on Instagram. Sharika has this account and she sells beautiful vintage ephemera, original ephemera, among other things. Sometimes she has tins like this, but she has just the most amazing ephemera, and I will write her handle down in the description box for you as well. Now I have some labels here. These are actually from my own shop. I will link these down for you as well. I have blank ones and I have these ones with numbers, so I thought maybe we can just add one number on top here instead of how she does it. I don't want it to be too big. Maybe I'll just cut this one down. This one seems fairly small. Or what else can I do? Oh, there's this one. Or this one. Kind of like the 779 here. Just have to decide, do I want it this way or do I want it this way? I kind of like this way. I'm not gonna keep it white. So what do we do about the color now? Just add some distress stain and see what that looks like. I could try my tea dye and hopefully that's not going to smear the number because it's printed with an inkjet printer. So we'll see. Why is this so yellow? It is tea stain. Not sure I'm loving that yellow. Maybe we darken it up a bit with some brushed corduroy. Yeah, I think I like that better. So let's quickly dry that with my heat gun. So that looks a lot better than with the white. And now for this one underneath, I'm just going to use my tearing ruler to tear around this, just so I don't have a straight edge. Now I'm going to ink up the edges with some vintage photo distress oxide, just to get rid of that white edge and to define that edge a little bit more. This one doesn't have any more white edges, I think because of the distress stain that we already added. So now let's glue one on top of the other. Just gonna use some tacky glue for this. Now we can add this up here. So obviously I'm not gonna put dragonfly on my butterfly tag. Well, I already have one sentiment here, which was the own your own story. What could I add here? I have here my cigar box of sentiments. There's a mixture of a lot of things, but most of them are actually from my shop. So of course I want to use them. So let's see if there's something that will work for this one. Oh, I love this one. This one says, "The journey, not the arrival, matters." It's from T.S. Eliot. We'd have to see how we can make that fit on our tag. This is from my travel, I think travel quotes they're called. I will link them below. Let's see if there's any way that we can maybe cut this down so that we can make it fit. Yeah, I think if we cut it down like this, we can definitely make that work. Obviously, we also don't want this in white. So this time what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take my tea dye distress oxide with my soft blending brush and go over this. I will link these two down in the description box for you as well. I always forget, it makes much more sense to do this before you cut it up because it's just much easier, because when they're this small, they are hard to keep a hold on. I always forget, I always remember afterwards. I do want to ink the edges as well with my vintage photo. So for this, I'm using this sponge because it's more sturdy and it's better to define the edges, whereas the other one works better when you're doing it flat. And for example, for stenciling, that other one would be better. So she has her word on this scrap piece of paper, which she then put the brads on. But I think I'm not going to do that since I don't have the brads anyway. I think I'm going to just glue these right onto the tag. I don't see why not. Again, just using my tacky glue for this. And just so you know, I put my tacky glue into an art glitter bottle because I really love the tip. So that just makes it so much easier, because otherwise I always have way too much glue if I use tacky glue. And I have one of those bottles with the metal tip linked for you in the description box below. So I bought the art glitter glue, then used that, loved it, but I'm cheap, so I don't want to use it on a regular basis. And so I just filled it with my tacky glue. So this is the sentiment now. And then she has the charm, remember? She has this arrow with this interesting knot contraption here. So I don't have an arrow, but I think I have a feather that we could use to put here. And I have no idea how I'm going to do this knotted thing. Let's see how to do that. So I have this box of charms. These are specifically my bronze colored charms. And see, I have a feather here. This would be quite perfect because it fits really well with my turquoise here that I have. And it shouldn't be too big. Just don't know how I'm actually going to attach it. And it's actually kind of covering my words if I put it here. So this might not be the best option for me. How else could we add it? We could just add it like this, because it's kind of curved the wrong way. If it was curved this way, I could kind of make it fit there, but I can't. I didn't plan this well. I should have tried that first. Bad planning. Or should we just take something smaller and add it here, like something neutral, like maybe a key, or even a little fairy. This is a really cute fairy. I could add her like this. I mean, I do love the feather, but it just doesn't work here. Could also just add a cute little key. Like that. That would be cute too. Key or fairy? But one thing I don't like, you see these brads here are like this dark silver color, and she's gold. I'm not sure I like that combination. The key is a little less gold, but it's still not the right color. I just had an idea how to make these look the same, but first I want to edge this whole tag. I should have actually done that before I attached my butterfly, but it'll be okay. So I want a nice dark edge like she has in hers. You see, she has almost black looking edge around her tag, which looks really nice. I'm not gonna do black, but I'll first go around it with my Memento espresso truffle ink straight from the ink pad. That will give it a really nice defined black edge. And then in addition, I will take my vintage photo and go around that with my sponge. Okay, and now to make these the same, it's such an easy solution. I have my gilding wax. I can just add that on top of all of these, and then they will all have this beautiful copper shine, which actually works really well because we already have the copper in here. So that's perfect. There, now I just let that dry for a little bit, a few minutes. It dries very quickly. And then I think we can do the finishing touches. Going back to this once more, so it looks like the twine she put through the hole of her charm and then just made these knots and then glued that down on the tag. So let us attempt that. I have a much thinner twine here. This is black. This is from some packaging. So I'm gonna use that. So it's not gonna look the same, but it doesn't have to. I'm just taking the inspiration for doing something like this. Maybe I'll just end up doing a double knot and leaving the ends because I don't know that I can make this thing that she made. So I'll start off with a double knot in any case to secure it. And then I'll just, I don't know, maybe I'll just put these together and then make a knot like this. Yeah, I don't think it really comes out as well if the twine is so thin, but that's okay. It does look kind of weird. I will try. We can always cut it off if we don't like it. So then let's attach this, and I'm also just gonna use my tacky glue. You could use hot glue gun or whatever. It's fun. Okay, and I think the last thing we need to do is we need to add some twine up here. It looks like she has a packaging twine here, and it looks like she took 2 strands. So let's try that. Let's take it double. She has it this way. Hers is darker, but this is what I have. I don't think I like having that much up here. I think I want just one. This seems like too thick for my tag. Yeah, this is better. So this is the final result. I'm super happy with it. I would have never come up with this myself. Let's compare again. Final result. There's the original and there's my version of it. Similar yet different and just so much fun. So if you're stuck, try something like this. Find a tag or find something small to get you inspired, to get your creative juices flowing, and see what comes out. You'll probably be surprised at what lovely end result you'll get and how you'll learn a lot of things by just analyzing someone else's creative work. So let me know in the comments below if this is something you want me to try again, maybe make a series of it as well. If you want to see more of these, don't forget to check out Tina's in February, Tina's series. I'm sure hers are going to look a whole lot different than mine. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of lace and stuff involved, knowing Tina. So I can't wait for that. So yeah, let me know if you want to see more. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Give this a try and hope to see you in the next video. Love you guys. Mwah.